Welcome to today's
I'm
office
showing.
hour.
Okay. We are live now, Douglas.
Now we are live.
Excellent.
Hey there, and welcome to our brand new office hours on how to use AI tools to grow your law practice. We have set aside this time to answer your questions and show you some of our favorite tips and tricks that the AI tools that we use. With a specific focus on helping you attract more clients, get more efficient, and be a better leader for your team so you have more time for yourself. I'm Doug Brown. I'm Chief Learning Officer of Summit Success, and I've been using AI in my private coaching practice for several years now. And with me is Walt Hampton, a founder and CEO. Welcome, Walt.
Douglas, I've been looking forward to this. I always love our programs together, and this is a topic that you and I love very much and we use often in our work together. So yeah, super excited about our time together.
So why should lawyers be caring about AI like right now? We got a lot of stuff going on. Why should they be paying attention to it?
Well, they want to pay attention to it if they want to continue to have work in the world to do. And I say that respectfully and with great honor for our profession. I think we have the greatest profession on the planet. We get to help people in their time of greatest need. We get to impact legislation. We get to help do really cool deals. We get to be involved in government and politics and the judiciary. We have a really great gig, and the work we do really matters in the world. And so much of what we get stuck doing is going to be replaced by AI. And so lawyers will come to us and say, is AI going to take over our work? Are we going to become obsolete? And lawyers who don't use AI will become obsolete. That's the reality of this technology. And so number one, we need to understand the technology. We need to understand how it can help us in our day-to-day practice. And we need to see what the future is into how we can use this so that we can do the work that can't be replaced. You and I, Doug, have talked before about a book that we both like and recommend often to our coaching clients, Deep Work by Cal Newport. Newport is a professor down at Georgetown, a graduate of MIT. And in Deep Work, he says that the thing that so many of us have lost is the capacity to go deep with our work because of the culture of distraction. It is all of that stuff that is in the culture of distraction that will be replaced by AI. And the thing that we have the unique capacity to do is to do deep work as lawyers. And so what AI will allow us to do is to really stay more consistently in our zone of genius and our zone of excellence.
Yeah, and when we thought about setting this up as a webinar, but by the time we did that, what we shared would be out of date because this stuff is changing all the time. But I did want to address when I talk to lawyers and others about AI, they sometimes there's this reaction of, oh, it's a bad thing. Like, well, it won't do it as well as me, or what if it gets it wrong? And there was a lawyer that got disciplined because they submitted a brief that used ChatGPT or generative AI. And, my answer is, would you take a document that came out of a first-year law student and just file it without checking it? That these tools are accelerators. It's not a substitute for your judgment. It's a little bit like hopping in a race car. If you don't know how to drive a race car, you shouldn't be driving it. Or if you've using a power tool, power saw, you kind of ought to know how to use it. So would it do it as well as you? Probably not. But we're going to show you in just a minute how to use the tool. Could it get it wrong? Yeah. But it's using your judgment.
Could it get it right? And could it do it better than you? Oh, yes. In so
Oh, and
many instances, it can.
when I started using this, I would put something in that I had written, and I would say, "Here's my audience. Show me how to write it better." And in seconds, it would have written it better and more clearly. And then I could edit it for my voice. It was amazing. So um, we're going to show you how to use these tools, and we're kind of do that right now. As you have questions, please put them into the chat. And I think one of the things that the way I've been explaining this is way better than staring at a blank screen. So
Yeah,
speaking of,
and
go ahead.
while you're thinking about questions that you want to raise in real time, thank you to those of you who sent us questions, and we've also done some survey of our lawyer clients as to frequently asked questions. So we've got questions we're going to answer for you, but we want you to ask the questions that may be top of mind. So if we don't get to those, please jump in, as Doug said, into the chat. And we are going to be, don't try this at home, friends. Closed track, professional drivers only. We are live, and we don't know how this will turn out. There could be a costume accident for all we know, Douglas. So take it away.
Yeah. So if you don't know anything about ChatGPT, you want to go to openai.com and create an account. It's free to get started. I use the paid version. It's $20 a month because it's way faster and better, but you don't have to use that to get started. And this is what it looks like. And the thing I love about ChatGPT and any of these tools is you can ask it questions about how do I use you? So to save time, I'm going to paste this question into ChatGPT, and we'll go over it. We love that the better questions you ask it, the better your responses. So in this case, we're telling it to act as if you're the managing partner of a 5-attorney firm with 3 paralegals and 2 assistants in Philadelphia. You focus on elder law and estate planning. So just basics, you know that already. Your clients are suburban 2-income families with incomes of $250 and average net worth of $1 million. And it talks about what your biggest challenges are. Now, here's the question part. I don't know much about ChatGPT or how it can help me. How should I get started? Well, let's see what it says. So it's going to start by oftentimes repeating what makes sure it understands the question. And it's going to generate its kind of thoughts on how you might do this. This is just like having a conversation with, it is a chat. And what I like about that, if you look at it and think of it as if you were having a conversation and give it feedback on its answers, then it gives you better responses.
So just pause there for a minute. Don't pause the chat, but I just want to anchor what you just said and tease out the distinctions. This is not your grandmother's Google search. This is as Doug suggests, generative and interactive tool with which you can have a conversation as if, if you want to picture it IRL in real life, as if you're having a conversation with an associate or a para who you're about to send off on a mission, or you've sent off on a mission and they're back sitting in your office and you're actually having a conversation. And if you can put yourself in that mindset from the get-go, you're going to have a better experience with chat and you're going to get much better results, just like you do when you have an interactive conversation with that associate or para.
Yes. And when I use ChatGPT, I'll just show you the sidebar here. It keeps track of all of your conversations. And it works much more effectively in the ChatGPT 4. You can choose different models here. What I also have a Google Doc or a Word doc or something open, so I can cut and paste the stuff that I like, or I can use this copy button and put it into another form so that I can remember where things were and so forth. I'm not going to do that today, but that's what I wind up with is if I really like a set of questions and prompts and I want to start a new chat, I can go back and use that context I've copy pasted, so I don't have to ask these questions or provide this information all the time.
One more thing about
yeah.
the prompt, Doug, that I think is important as I was watching you cut and paste it in is actually putting chat in the state of mind. This sounds odd to talk about a piece of machinery here, but you're putting it in a state of mind that you want it to think in. And so rather than that kind of third party interaction that you might have in an ordinary Google search, tell me the answer to X, and you get a bunch of resources, you're actually asking chat to think about this in a particular mindset. And so as Doug did in this particular prompt, Doug gave it the persona, the state of a lawyer in a particular practice with a particular demographic. And in this instance, like, I'm a newbie here, help me understand, you're a newbie here. What do we need to know?
And so let's take the kind of the next step here. So this is a general description of the kinds of things it can do. Let's one of the ways we like to use it is a little bit of market intelligence and research. So I'm going to ask it a marketing question. And the first question I'm going to ask it is, how much do you know about the reasons why clients might hire a law firm like mine? And then I'm asking this question to kind of get a sense.
Pause there just for a second. So unlike a Google search, we're in a conversation. And so chat is now engaged in this dialogue. So you don't have to go back and put it back in state again. It is in the state of this lawyer who runs this elder care law firm. And now you're interacting at a deeper level about it. And you want to ascertain what its understanding might be to respond to this particular question.
Yeah. So before I ask the questions, I want to make sure it understands. And what Walt just said is correct. Within this chat, when you start a new chat, it starts fresh, which is one of the reasons why if I'm doing a marketing project, I will copy paste the initial background it needs so that I don't have to ask it all the same questions. But let's see what they know. Let's just kind of see what ChatGPT knows about the reasons why clients might hire a firm. And these are not revolutionary answers. You know the answers if you're in this kind of practice, but we're checking to see kind of what they know and if they understand things, if it understands things properly before we ask it some more detailed questions. And what I'm seeing, not being an expert in this area, is it's writing it in reasonably plain English that's easy to understand in a neutral tone. You can actually control tone and output with other prompts. You could say, write this in a way that somebody with a high school education would understand. You can ask it, is it clear? Things like that.
And you can also, if you're coming back to the top of the conversation that you had, and we'll go probably talk about these objections more, Doug, a lot of lawyers, they're worried about the accuracy of things. And just as you said, I mean, I'm going to date myself, back from 1983 at Cornell. Did you shepherdize this? We use our power tools in a way that's responsible. And sometimes you'll look at the copy that's generated by ChatGPT, and I'll go back in and say, will you double check this? I think this might be wrong. And ChatGPT may come back and go, yeah, you're right that I'm wrong. Or no, I've double checked it and I'm absolutely sure of this. Now, that may mean you still want to double and triple check it. But, in this conversational interaction, you can have it check itself as you check it from an external objective perspective. I love what Doug is doing. I mean, we fall into this with chat. It's very funny, interacting. Well, thank you for that. That was really, really nice of you.
Well, what's funny is it actually helps if it's on the right track, saying that's good. And
yes, exactly.
So in this case, we're focused on marketing a little bit. And so that's a lot. It's pretty generic. So I wanted to give me the top 5 reasons people will seek me out using words they would use, because we see in marketing all the time, lawyers talk in lawyer speak, but clients don't hire based on lawyer speak. They have problems that keep them up at night. So let's see what GPT thinks about that. So now we're talking, right? I need help with my estate. I want to protect my assets. I'm planning for retirement. Now we're talking about the problems that would cause them to come to you. And sometimes it's just fun to watch it, right? So
yeah, I love that. Now, Douglas, I have on another tab our written syntax for this. One of the things I just thought about would be cool, if I'm not getting ahead of myself here, is to cut and paste one of those prompts, like take prompt number 1 and drop it in as a new message, and ask it to create a LinkedIn post promoting the practice, because you could do that in a heartbeat.
I'll go back to the initial post. Okay.
Number 1 here. I need help planning my estate.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So cut and paste that.
So
yes, good. I love this.
Let's see. Let's just do it. So I'd like to create a LinkedIn post
based on number 1 above.
Based on item. Can't. This is my typing is tension on live, right?
Yeah.
Write this in a simple conversational tone without salesy language. That
go ahead.
Makes and by the way, it doesn't care if you make typing mistakes. and emotional connection.
All right.
See what it says.
I was going to say an add, but I'll give you that in a minute.
What is also interesting is you could ask the same question in different chats and it will come up with different variations of the answer. It's not always exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Like a box of chocolates. So you're never sure what you're going to get.
So this is I love this, how conversational it is. And I really like that it's that you could use it in a social media post to promote your practice. Now ask it to generate optimized hashtags for LinkedIn.
It's thinking harder about this one, Walt.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't ask it a very specific question. I used the number sign instead of saying hashtags. So it
and you didn't say for this post.
And I didn't say for this post. So I'm going to stop it there because you can hit the stop button. That's not what I wanted. Here, let's try. Let's. Well, how many hashtags you want? 3?
No, just optimized hashtags for the LinkedIn post that you created. Got it. Yeah, and of course, LinkedIn for searchability, friends. Those of you who are out there marketing your practices on LinkedIn, the searching hashtags on LinkedIn are incredibly important for optimizing your posts. So there you're able to take, just to go down a little side rabbit hole, what Doug was demonstrating with respect to the overview, taking any piece of that and running with it. And the beautiful thing with this is you could take and ask all chat to create LinkedIn posts for all of that laundry list of stuff. And within less than 5 minutes, you could have a week or a month's worth of LinkedIn posts to promote your practice.
Yeah. Now I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to say, I'd like a version of the post written as a story. Now that was the only, and remember, it's remembering everything else. This is going to make up a story.
I don't know if anybody else is having fun, but
I don't know either. If you're having fun, or if this is helpful so far, put it in the chat. Let us know. So
we're doing a webinar for our own
amusement. My point is that you can take a general idea and get it to write a story, and then you can go through this and say, oh boy, that's using I'm not going to do it, but you can say use smaller words.
or pretend you're Shakespeare, or write it as a haiku, or no, we're not going to go down that road.
Right one is Robin Williams. No, okay. So what I want to do is take another use case. In this case, I want to talk about and using the same chat just for expediency, and say, all right, let's say my clients have common questions that I answer all the time about my area of practice, that I would like to just have something that, so I want to write something. Let's do this. I want to write something of the top 10 things they should look for when hiring a lawyer like me. So you would say it, I'm looking for a one-page that's wrong. I want to create one-page guide for potential clients that gives them the top 5 things they should look for when hiring a firm like mine. Draft, keep it simple and be as specific and tangible as possible. Because if not, it'll give you general stuff. The more specific you are, the better.
I have to always tell mine not to write in flowery prose, and then I get into an argument with it. But
I'll do that too, and it'll keep changing it.
Yep. This is lovely. It could be a potential guide you give to your referral sources. It could be a giveaway on your website as an opt-in. It could be a download on your LinkedIn marketing campaign. So this is super, super valuable.
So I'm going to give it another prompt that I thought of in advance, and then we're going to move on to some other use cases, some more non-marketing things. And
because I think it might be useful to, now we've talked about bringing clients in. So what happens, I know we have one prompt that has to do with, what do you do with creating SOPs around when you bring clients on board inside your practice?
Oh yeah. So let's ask it that, and I'll come back to that other question later. Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't.
No, that's fine. I'll come back to that. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go to this other thing first, Walt, and I'll come back to it because it's a common thing. I was just reading an article before we get on about AI detectors that are out trying to detect, and you use AI to write something. So I thought I might ask ChatGPT, how might I customize this so our firm's personality comes through? It doesn't feel like I was written by AI. You're using AI to hack the AI system. Isn't that fascinating?
Yes.
So, and it will tell you how. So in response to this, we won't continue this chain, but in response to this, you could tell ChatGPT, this is what my firm values and philosophy are. You could give it an example of, here's how I speak, right? Like this. And it will incorporate it. It will redraft it.
Yes.
So,
and just another very important thing is, over time, when you're using your AI, I don't know whether this is in the free version, but over time, working with AI, it does begin to learn your voice.
And there are more advanced tools you can use. I know one of the questions is, how do you avoid retraining it all the time? And one of the ways is to go back into a chat that's already open and continue it. The other is to originate a new one. I'm going to do a new chat here, Walt, and I'm going to give it this prompt. Act as if you're a lawyer practicing in your own firm. You focus on estate planning and elder law. You have a paralegal and an office assistant. You want to create a standard operating procedure that you or your assistant can run when bringing. Oh, by the way, this little thing here, that's called Grammarly. Grammarly is an amazing AI add-on for Word and virtually any other thing that will identify, not just spell check, but it will help you identify words that are wrong, sentences that are overly complicated. It's a fantastic, runs in the background tool. Been using it probably for 8 or 9 years. So I have one of my clients said he was spending hours and hours editing what his associates were doing. And I said, stop.
Run Grammarly.
Install Grammarly. Teach them how to use these tools so that you're not editing, you're reviewing for the actual substance. So
Nice.
That's my little commercial there. All right, so let's see what this says. I asked it to create it in a format that they can copy paste into a Word document. Obviously, I need Grammarly because I can't type very well. But here it is. Here's a procedure that'll get you started because it knows how to write a procedure.
And while it's writing, Doug, let me just re-anchor. We've done entire programs for law firms and professional associations on why you want processes and procedures. One is that you don't have to always reinvent the wheel within your own law office. Whenever a new person comes in, there's an extant SOP from which to work. It reduces time in terms of delegation. It increases efficiency, and it lowers error rate. There's a reason there are, checklists in operating rooms and in airplane cockpits. It's because when you have standard operating procedures, they make life a whole lot sweeter. And let's be clear, we're in a high risk field where we don't want to make mistakes. SOPs really help that. And in the administration of your firm will make life a whole lot sweeter.
And so what I would do if this were a project I were working on, I would copy this and put it into a Word document. I would edit it. And then I might ask ChatGPT a specific question like client information form. Ooh, I need one of those. So I'd have this separately, and you could ask it more questions. And when you're done with the document that you like, you can paste the whole document in and say, review this. How would you make it clearer? And it will tell you and help you refine that. So it will also take work you've already done, critique it, and make it better for you.
So Doug, stay where you were.
Okay.
So take client information, cut and paste that. So just ask it to create a client information form.
Yeah. I've just expanded it because in this case, it's the first call. So okay. You're not even ready for an intake yet.
Right.
So let's see what it says. It's happy to do it. Absolutely. Look, Walt is excited.
I know. I know. I like when I excite my chat GPT.
my GPT.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked it gave it the context of the pre-screening is before you ever get to the intake, you got to make sure you don't have conflicts and that kind of stuff. And it's a big problem with small firms where the assistant or the secretary or the paralegal doesn't have a process or even a sheet to capture the basic information so that they can decide what priority it gets and how to respond. So these are things that you could put in a Word document or on the screen, and as the person receiving the phone call would ask these questions and create the document. If you use an outside answering service, they could do the same thing. So let's take a look.
So it's a beautiful form, but let's go back up into the previous thread there where we pulled. So all of this is great, all of these things, but you can go back into this, as Doug has suggested, and ask it to actually do what it suggests you do. You can engage it to do further work. You can ask it to create the outline for the initial consultation. You can ask, I mean, I'm sure you all ought to have your engagement agreements set, but you know, what's the process and procedure for creating files that you want to create as your SOP? What documentation can you, all of this AI will generate, and often in a much more thorough way than you could imagine in the first instance.
Yes. And since you mentioned that, I'm going to show you something else you can do. This is my retainer agreement. How would you make it easier for my clients to understand without jargon and without losing the protections I need in it? And then I've copied it from another screen. I'm going to paste it. Advanced chat. You can also upload some attachments sometimes, but I'm going to just use paste because I've already tested this. And I put it in here. It sees it. And that's the document. It's a big, long document, right? Not too long. And now let's see what ChatGPT says, because this is a great use case if, for example, your clients don't really understand what a retainer means and when it has to be replenished. You could ask it to take that one section and be more specific. Now, I'm not saying you would go use this, but this is an example of how you might simplify something. You could even use it to explain a concept of law. I had one criminal defense attorney client who was tired of getting the 20 questions from the parents of those he was trying to defend. And so he created a document, not with ChatGPT, it was before ChatGPT, that he sent out to the family when he was retained, so he didn't have to answer the questions over and over again.
I love that. That's such a great use.
So I'm not sure I'm thrilled with this answer. It's maybe a little too simple, but I just want to illustrate the kind of things that it could do.
And as you suggest, Doug, yeah, and as you suggest, you can continue I mean, we're not going to do that in this instance, but you can continue the conversation by saying, I like this about what you just did, but I don't like that. Can you redraft this for me? And it will do that.
Yes. So what I thought I might do, Walt, is I want to show the use case about the dealing with people stuff.
Okay, good. Because now we have the clients in the door and the file is open.
And the file is open. And and the great thing about this is if you have an assistant who does a lot of this stuff, you could explain to him or her how to do this, and they could do this to start creating some of the processes, so you don't have to sit there and do it. In many cases, when we're teaching about how to be more productive and how to make more money in less time, you should be asking the question of who can help you with this, not how do you learn how to do it.
Yeah,
in this case, you have to know how to use it to know how to teach it a little bit. Go ahead, Walt.
Yes. So one of our questions, the survey questions that got sent back, was around setting aside time to use AI. And I think I'd like to reframe that question, because setting aside time is about block time for doing anything, whether it be
Mhm.
document creation or research or phone call returning. We teach that in our time management and productivity programs. But what I think we can extend it to is, you can use ChatGPT to create the SOPs for when you use ChatGPT, and create an outline for how to use ChatGPT, so that the staff people who are um, responsible for file opening, file closing, research, they're using it as a tool within the blocks of time they're using for their particular positions.
Yeah, and I just couldn't help myself, Walt. I had to ask ChatGPT the question of how do I block time on my calendar better, and it's going to give an answer.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
So one of the things while we're talking about block time is, if you're like us and we're curious and we like tech tools, do block out time to play with this and then set a timer so you stop.
Yeah, because I'm like, wow, this is going to be a 7-hour webinar. No, it's not. It's
So
not.
anyway,
We're going to honor your time. We will
right,
finish.
so
We will stop.
honor your time. So what I want to do is we'll just let this finish a little bit. And if you like something ChatGPT did, you can tell it I liked it or I didn't like it, or generate a new response. But
Yes.
one of the things that is very interesting is some of the common questions that suck up a lot of time. And one of them I get a lot is, I bill by the hour. I have difficult clients. I can't get them off the phone, and then they don't like my bill. What can I do when I'm on the phone to end the call gracefully without making the client feel bad?
Well, I
That's
like
just
that question.
pretty simple question. So let's see what our friend ChatGPT has
Actually,
to
not
say.
a simple question, but it's, yeah.
Well, the answer isn't simple. It's,
Yeah.
it's an easy question to understand. And again, these are not
Oh, that first one is one I use, but it's not
all the time.
It's not common knowledge, and it's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. In fact, if I forget to do that at the beginning, somewhere in the middle of the call, I will say, I've got a hard stop at the top of the hour. So let's, want to make sure we focus on what's most important.
Yes. Oh, this is beautiful.
So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So this can be very helpful to have a conversation. You could also create, if one of the big problems that lawyers have is they're afraid to make a call on an accounts receivable.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could use ChatGPT to explain the situation and create a script that my paralegal could use to politely call and help encourage the client to pay. And instead of you sitting there with a blank screen trying to figure it out, this tool is an accelerator. And remember, like any accelerator, this is information. You have to put the time in to make sure you go to the right place.
So pause just there for a minute, because you said something so important. The thing that hangs most people up, whether they're starting a research project, a writing project, you're going to do let's going to say, I used to write a practice management column for the Connecticut Bar Association, once a quarter or so. The problem that many people have, not all people, but many people have, is the problem of the blank page. And the beautiful thing about ChatGPT is that it solves the problem of the blank page. So, my wheelhouse is time management and productivity. I might want to say, I want to create a 700-word piece on time management and productivity for busy lawyers. Can you create a draft for me? And it will solve my blank page problem. I can go in, I can add case studies or examples from clients that I've worked with, or references to, the Connecticut Bar at the time, and make it my own. But I have solved the big problem of the blank page. Now, I'll just one other caveat here, because sometimes we get this objection. Well, isn't that cheating? Well, if you think that, you can join all of the teachers from the 1970s who are still talking at the picnic table about whether calculators are cheating or not. Because what this is, as we've said repeatedly now, is a power tool. And as Doug suggested, having a power tool doesn't make you a master craftsman, but a power tool in the hands of a master craftsman can make you so much more creative and efficient and create an amazing outcome a whole lot faster.
Yes, I have used this tool. I've used this tool to help clients with hiring the right people, with interview questions, with onboarding plans.
So do we have some of those examples? Because I don't know whether we have any of those in the syntax.
I can create one of those. I wanted to focus on another common problem first, and then we'll go to that.
Good.
So one of the questions that comes up a lot, because we do private coaching with lawyers just like you, and one of the problems is people. And this is a very, I'm not going to make you watch me type this badly. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start that in a new chat. And the question is, I run a small law firm focused on criminal law. I have a third-year associate who I don't feel is working hard enough or putting in enough hours. Whenever I try to give him feedback, he gets defensive and things get worse. I see he has good potential, but I need him to work more and more efficiently and accept feedback without getting defensive. So I want you to act as if you're an expert in solving these problems and give me specific advice about how I can have a conversation, including suggested language if he starts to act badly.
It's okay. Before you hit prompt, before you hit generate, you opened a new chat because you had put the previous chat thread in a different mindset. And so now we're creating a different frame in which we're asking chat to generate a response. And you're also, so you've given the background of the firm, and instead of saying act as if you are running a small firm, you put it in a different state. You're acting as if you're the expert solving these problems, which I really like, and then asking it to generate that response. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background why you opened a new chat thread and how you're setting the state for this interaction in a slightly different way.
Yes, and because it will remember everything that came before and assume it's related
in the same thread.
In the same thread, and the longer the thread gets, the less it remembers the right stuff. So sometimes you just need a fresh one. Yes. So in this case, let's see what ChatGPT has to say. And I saw Jordan's question about plugins, and we're going to cover plugins right after this because there's so much. There's very specialized, while we're waiting for ChatGPT, there's very specialized versions of ChatGPT. There's other services that use ChatGPT as the engine. ChatGPT has plugins that allows it to do different things. So what plugins to use becomes kind of an advanced topic. I would focus on the basics to start, and learning how to use this tool will help you evaluate other tools. And in fact, I want to remember, Walt, we'll go over, I want to show Bard in a minute and maybe ask it about some AI tools and plugins. So back to our ChatGPT in progress. And we're somewhat expert at dealing with this, Walt. So I think the positive tone, and remember, this would not have given me language if I didn't ask it for language.
Yes, I love that.
So this isn't looking at this, focusing on specific behaviors. Yes, absolutely. I'm not a super fan of that language because it kind of could trigger defensiveness. So I might ask it to give me some other options. So this is a good framework. I'm not a super fan of the actual language, but if I were using this, I would go back and spend some time and refine it.
Yes, interacting with each. So you could say, for example, I really don't like your suggested language for X. Can you provide me with other suggestions that perhaps would not put the listener in a defensive posture? And it would give you that.
And just to Walt's example, it'll do that. So again, this is you'll learn how to use this. If you got into a Formula One race car, you'd probably be able to get around the track, not at Formula One speeds, but knowing how, not only how to use the tool, but the questions to ask are just essential. When we ask it to go deeper, it's going to give us more specific language, as you're seeing here.
Yes. So
and that's a lot of our, yeah, go ahead. So that's,
oh no, go ahead.
I think what I wanted to do we got about 15 minutes for the top of the hour. I did want to answer the question about plugins and then maybe illustrate how Bard is different, because it's connected. This ChatGPT is connected to the universe of knowledge up into 2021 and soon to be 2022. So it doesn't have current events. It is not connected to the quote internet, so it can't research from websites and things like that. So there are some limitations there.
So let me while you're on that topic, I also want to just respond to Jordan. So I think I could be reading your question wrong, Jordan. If I am, I apologize, but I'm reading that there are two possible ways to answer your question. Are there different prompts to use as well? So there's an entire business right now built on prompt engineering. It's like it grew. It was like this industry that grew up overnight a year ago after this technology came to the fore. And people are making a lot of money teaching you how to create prompts. My recommendation for our audience is you don't need actually to pay a lot of money for prompt engineering. What you ought to do is what we're doing here today is having a little bit of a playful experience with this thing called chat, putting it in the various states, and you will quickly learn what prompts give you the best information and what ones don't, and where you need to interact differently with it. Yes, if you want prompt engineering, the interweb is replete with that, and you can email me and I'd be happy to send you in the right direction. But because we're in the business that we're in, we actually know how to ask good questions. And you're so welcome, Philip. Thank you for being here. So knowing how to ask good questions, knowing how to put it in state gives you just about everything you need to engineer the right prompt. Setting up OpenAI is super easy. It's just going to openai.com and setting up an account. That's super easy. And then the plugin, the plugin I use is, because I use the Chrome browser, is to have the Google Chrome browser plugin attached to my ChatGPT, and you've got some other plugins there too.
One of my favorite plugins. This is a Chrome plugin, a Chrome extension. Is search. This one's called Search ChatGPT, and this will search all of your chats for everything in it. And help you find things more quickly.
I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I'm so happy I attended this webinar.
I think I had to pay $6 whole for it or something.
Wow. Cool.
So now there's ChatGPT. Bard is Google's version of this AI tool, and it's different and has different functionality. I use it for different things. So and
Doug, I will say that on every day, including today, all day long. I have chat open and Bard open, and I work back and forth between the two.
Yes, I all the time. So what's a good, you would say we should ask a question of like a current events question.
Yeah,
oh, I
so
know.
just hold for a second though. So I like chat because of its conversation. I mean, it is a conversational AI. It's a generative AI. Bard has some of those um, characteristics as well, but where I find chat to shine is when I'm looking to create SOPs or fill the blank page with copies, or to create the letter, or to create the social media posts. It's really good in that creative way. And by the way, and Philip looks like he's gone, but Jordan, this might be helpful for you. ChatGPT now is connected with DALL-E, which is his text-to-image generator, which you can do right inside of chat. So it's a very conversational, creative platform. Whereas for me, Bard is like a Google search on steroids, on rocket fuel.
Yes, I agree. And what this can do is one of the most.
There you are, there you are, Jordan.
There you are. And so you can ask it all kinds of questions about current events. You can say,
hold on just for a second. Can you cut and paste that and see if it will drop into the chat without being too long? So Jordan has that. See if it will.
Let me see if I can do that. Let me try it. We're going to see what happens.
Real time, people. Don't try this.
We're live.
Yeah, there it is. Cool.
So
it's not formatted, but
it's messy. It's messy.
Yes.
So
messy is the new perfect.
Yeah. So let's think of another. Okay. Now I'm just trying to think of a good question to ask.
What are you thinking?
I can. I had done a whole Bard research of looking for latest articles on how to leverage AI in your law firm. So it gave me a list of articles.
I thought you made this up from scratch.
I did all myself. Myself. Just made it up. But what's interesting is this is a little bit like, I remember, Walt, when we used to go to the library and do research for a case. You find a case and you find another case. You have a stack of books. You photocopy them all. You get back to your room. You start writing by hand and realize that you've got 1,400 sites on one thing, and the one thing you needed you didn't have. So you got to go back to the library and do it again.
Yes.
You can get all kinds of information here, and it can become so overwhelming that you don't know how to make sense of it.
Yes.
So this is good to generate ideas. You can actually ask ChatGPT or Bard to brainstorm or help you brainstorm topics. You can have it help you outline things. So there's all kinds of ways you can play with this as if it were that young protege lawyer we wanted to send it off and do some research here. So
I'll give you a real world example. I don't know whether I shared this with you, but I had a young man from a state in which the recreational use of marijuana is legal. And he works for a contractor that does a lot of work with the federal government. And he was asked to step up and apply for a very high level security clearance. And of course, federal law conflicts with that state law. And so I had about a 20-minute conversation with both Bard and ChatGPT, as if I were talking with an associate in my office about the incongruity with the laws, how state and federal law might be applied in the connection of seeking this security clearance, what its recommendations would be, what other remedial steps I might advise to this young person. And it was as I've had some amazing associates over the course of but it was a really good conversation.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do. One of the things, in the interest of time, we're gonna maybe this. If people like this, maybe we'll do another one at some point. But we could do a whole day, or we could do a lot. But
at least you and I could. So
I know you and I could.
I don't know
but I've used it for onboarding plans. I've used it to create surveys. I've used it to help review resumes, people applying to a particular position. I've used it to create good interview questions.
It's the greatest for job descriptions and interview questions and stuff like that.
And you can, so it saves all kinds of time there. A couple of other quick things that I'd like to show you. There's another service that's like ChatGPT. It's called Claude.ai. I like Claude or Cloud, I guess. It will allow you to upload very easily long form content, PDFs, transcripts of phone calls, all kinds of things. It'll create summaries for you. ChatGPT isn't yet as good at that. And you can do it. You can use it for free up to a certain amount. So I'll often use this for summaries. And then one of my other favorite tools is Otter.ai. Otter.ai, you can connect it to your Zoom. Anytime you have a Zoom meeting, your autopilot will show up. It will do a live transcript of your meeting. It'll do screen capture. You can download transcripts and then upload them into Claude or ChatGPT to create summaries. It is an amazing tool. And what it does, what I use it for is I'll take notes, but if I want to remember something that later, I don't have to take verbatim notes. So it helps me listen better. And I have, sometimes somebody, what's that otter and why is it in our meeting? And I'll say, it's an AI tool to help me take notes. It's confidential, just the two of us. And it will, it helps make things more efficient, and people are fine with that or have been fine with that, or you can just turn it off. But this is a great tool. You can use it for free up to a certain number of minutes in a 30-minute conversation. It's not that expensive to get an extended version. So that's a great use case. I know Zoom has its own version of that. This works with whether it's Microsoft Team meetings or anything else, or you can just turn it on for a live meeting. It'll capture through your microphone. Or if you just want to start talking about something, you can use it for dictation and go from there with it. So it's an amazing tool.
All right, Doug, I hate to be a buzzkill.
We got to finish.
But we got to finish up because I want to honor people's times. I think, dear friends, you can see how excited and jacked up we are about this topic, and how really an amazing tool it is for the work that we get to do in the world, that we're privileged to do in the world, and how it can help you be more efficient and really spend more of your time in your own zone of genius. If you want to follow up with us, I popped a link over in the window, set up a strategy call. Doug has a limited number of calendar spots for free strategy calls. If you want to brainstorm a little bit further on this, if you want to explore how we might be able to support you and the important work that you do with our coaching work, please go over there on the right-hand side, click the green button. It will take you to a very, very, very short form where we will then get right back to you and set up a time to connect and confer. So I hope this has been helpful. If there are other questions that you have, please feel free to email us. You can see our email addresses right up there on the screen right now. Happy to follow up. Jordan, if I didn't get your question exactly right, I'm happy to connect with you by email. But those of you who would like to strategize a little bit further about your use of AI and support and explore how we as coaches might support your practice to grow and scale and make it amazing in the way it ought to be, go over there on the right-hand side, click the green button, and set up a call with Doug. We would love to serve and support you. It would be a great, great privilege. We so enjoy this work that we are privileged to do in the world with all of you. Thank you for those of you who are in our community for coming back. I feel like sometimes we're like a Jerry Garcia concert. Doug, we have people who camp on the pavement the night before for our webinar. And thank you all of you who are joining us for the very first time today. We're grateful for you, and we hope you'll come back. Thank you again for everything, for your interest, for your questions that you sent to us before. Make it a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Take good care. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.